So we're back for Pleb Talk, Jared. And, we're going to get off the investment thing now. You not kind of made our point. We said what we wanted to say on it. Mm-hmm. But you made a comment to me as we were coming back together here. We need to have a class basically called Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks.
And what are they going to teach you in that class? Other than everything we just talked about.
Things I wish I had learned in high school. How to change the oil in my vehicle. How to do my taxes every year. And this, I think, should also include understanding property taxes, which is hilarious because I just paid my property taxes.
Welcome to the real world, son.
How to invest, how investment works. Just a 101. The basics. Here's what stocks are. Here's what bonds are. Here's high interest, low interest accounts. Some basic financial stuff that, for the life of me, I don't remember them ever teaching us in school.
Well, I had a friend just coming out of high school. They did not graduate, but during their senior year, during the RoRo, the teaching staff said you don't need to finish personal finance to graduate. To me, that basically dooms the next generation of our, I'm going to say our leaders, because they are going to be in that position someday.
Gosh, I hope none of those teachers watch this podcast because that's irresponsible.
Honestly, I actually hope they do. Because shame on you. But anyway,
it's irresponsible.
But, to me, it unfortunately feels like a lot of the purpose of some of the school systems is to push not just some students, but all students into college. When the reality is, where a lot of people may not want to hear this, the reality is you can make career money, 80, 90, 100, 110,000 without a college education. Mm-hmm. You can make comfortable, stable wages, $20, $25, $27, $28 an hour, benefits, insurance, vacation, without a college education. Mm-hmm. Ask Isaiah. Mm-hmm. So, I kind of have a problem with that. That bothers me a little bit. Again, I feel like that subject, could almost be its own Pleb Talk podcast.
I'm simple when it comes to it. I got a bachelor's degree, and I'll tell you right now, it's not for everyone. If I had an 18, 19-year-old, someone young come up to me and, ask for my advice on what to do with their future path, go to a tech school. You don't even have to get an associate's. You can do a trade. You can get technical degrees. You can do a small amount of classes. You can get apprenticeships in the trades like electrical, plumbing, carpentry, welding, automotive. And I guarantee you, gosh, I got a cousin who's a plumber. Dude, I got a bachelor's degree. I got all these certificates. He probably makes twice as much as I do as a plumber. And yeah, he works a lot, but he learned a trade. It's always going to be needed. You're always going to need electrical. You're always going to need plumbing. And there's so much work out there right now because of growth at least in our area that, don't worry about going and getting your doctorate in such and such. Go be an electrician. Around here, you would make 80 to 100,000. You're going to work for it, but you're not going to spend nearly as much on college. Hell, they might even pay for your college, depending where you go.
Yeah, Jared, my brother Jared, obviously, you're my brother too, but my blood brother Jared and I, we talk about this all the time. Mm-hmm. And we see it so often. We see these kids, and they come in and they talk to us, and they're like, well, where should I go to school? And I'm like, well, do you want to be a doctor or a lawyer? They say, no, I don't think, they'll actually say, I don't think I'm smart enough for that. And I'll say, okay, then you're not going to college. And mom and dad will look at me like, no, what are you doing?
University.
Or whatever, what are you doing? Oh my God. Like they can't believe I said that. Meanwhile, I'm like, what do you want to do? And they're like, well, I really want to get into welding. I'm like, go to NWTC.
Absolutely.
Go to tech school.
Absolutely.
Don't need college. Go to tech school. I literally tell them that. I'm like, you're not going. And then sometimes the parents, they'll kind of be nodding in the background because they get it. Mm-hmm. And they see it, and even some of my friends, they're counselors or whatever, and they see these kids come through, and it's like, how many kids are you going to tell to go to UWGB before you realize, well, maybe that kid should have gone to NWTC? maybe that kid didn't belong in college. Maybe that C student doesn't belong at college. In fact, C students don't belong in college.
And actually, I'm gonna both agree and counter what you said, because I'm wrong. Yes, I have a bachelor's degree. I didn't go to university first. I went to the tech college, and I found what I was going for. I was in a program for 2 years, decided that that's not the career choice I wanted. I also didn't feel challenged there.
Was that criminal justice?
That was criminal justice.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. I didn't feel challenged. I thought the classes were very easy. That's just for me personally. So I went up and got a different degree. I actually love what I went to school for. I can apply it in the fire service, and it's actually, I would argue, has helped me through my professional career with what I went to school for, and that's great, but that's not the same case for everyone.
Well, Jared, you mentioned the fire service. Mm-hmm. What a great jumping off point. I want to move away from kind of some of the more lecture-y points, and I want to talk about you again. Firefighter. You got what, 11 years experience now?
Be 12 in May.
12 years of experience in May. Firefighter, whether it was volunteer, have you done full-time?
I have done full-time for 4 years.
You worked at an airport. Mm-hmm. You worked at a volunteer fire department. You did full-time.
Part-time, inspected for another department as well, and was kind of integrated in with the law enforcement and the fire and rescue over there.
Sure.
Did that for a year. I mean, so I've been on 3 departments. I'm still currently on 1.
Been fired from all 3 of them, of course.
Nice try. Haven't been fired from any of them.
Yeah, this is an Associated Bank. What am I talking about?
Oh, wow.
I thought it was appropriate.
Everybody gets fired from there. That's a normal thing.
I thought it was an appropriate joke.
The department that I volunteered on is now a part-time department. That's the one I'm still on. So my first fire department is the one that I'm still on. Mm-hmm. So I was at 1 as an inspector part-time, and I was full-time while working part-time. So I did essentially 2 full-time jobs for only like 3 or 4 years. Have no idea why my wife got together with me and married me. Totally insane. I was gonna say, this is like the first time I've seen you in 4 years.
This has been it has been nice to reconnect with you just a touch. And I remember those days, right, where I would say, hey, Jared, are you gonna come over for bro night tonight, or did you want to do something this weekend? It's like, I'm working a 12-hour, I'm working a 24, or I'm overnight at the fire station, and I remember all those nights, right? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about, first of all, how did you get into? Is it fire service, firefighting? What am I supposed to call it?
You know how I got into fire service.
Tell us
to see who got me into the fire service, please watch the 3rd podcast when Yankonomics is on here. That's the guy that got me into fire service.
Sure.
And I would have never met him if I hadn't met you. So, I mean,
enough.
Realistically, you've heard this speech before, but there's a whole chain reaction of people that got me into fire service going to him. And before him, I met him because of my brother many years ago. And I met my brother because my mother and my dad got together, and they loved each other, and it was great. So, moving on.
For at least a few nights, right?
For at least 16 years.
Anyways. So
one of our good friends,
mutual friends, yep.
Mutual friend, he was in it. His dad was the boss, the chief, and he's like, hey, this is a very disciplined thing. We do all this training. You get all this education for free. I think this is something you would be good at. And boy, let me tell you, if he had told that to the captains and lieutenants at the time, they would have killed him for getting me on there. Because boy, was I a pain in the butt for the first couple of years as a rookie. Breaking shit, doing stupid shit, which is pretty normal for firefighters. I said it.
Let me make an honest statement here, though. Agree or disagree, joining the fire department was the best thing that ever happened to you.
Outside of
growth-wise, okay, personal growth-wise,
absolutely.
I think, because I actually talked with your chief about it a few times. Him and I actually had this discussion. I don't know if you were standing there or not, and he's made the comment, it made a boy a man. And I'm not talking gender roles. I'm not talking any of that stuff. He made what I would say there was some immaturity there. Mm-hmm. And you needed to grow up in some aspects of your life. And the fire service, the fire department, the skills you learned from that absolutely contributed to your development into the man you are today.
Look, there's 2 things fire service did to me. It put a foot up my ass, but it also put a hand on my shoulder.
Yeah.
So I screwed up, and I learned to own my screw-ups and to get beyond them and better myself because of them. And that's a huge thing that fire service taught me.
It is, and I think that's so hard for some people these
Really
days.
hard.
Why is that a thing, right? Where like when somebody and I'm not talking about you make a comment about a game and a couple people disagree with it. I'm talking about you screw something up in real life that really matters, right? Like
you break a piece of equipment or somebody potentially almost gets injured.
Or you fuel the vehicle wrong, you put the wrong fuel in. Or you, whatever you do, you connect the hose wrong and it leaks and the pressure isn't right and the house burns.
Right.
Right? Why is that so hard to say, I fucked that up?
I mean, there are stories, across the world, on the way to a house that's on fire, people are losing their home, and the guy is not paying attention, the guy driving and crashes a fire truck. So now you just put a truck out of service, you maybe injured one of your coworkers
or somebody else.
And now somebody else, a civilian, and now the response is hampered for these people who are losing their home. I mean, there's so much risk involved if you choose to make poor decisions, especially maliciously. In the fire service, if you decide to make a malicious decision to do something bad, you don't stay in the fire service very long. You get weeded right out.
Well, because your actions can lead to somebody dying.
Correct.
And much easier than maybe, being stupid in a retail store.
Right. Absolutely.
So I think, and I agree with the chief when he says this, I think your time in the fire department made you a man.
I appreciate that.
And I do. I look at you now and, obviously, dude, you and I have been friends for 18 years. Yeah. I can tell you anything. There is nothing I can't say to you. Nothing. Just like there's nothing you can't say to me. And I can tell you, when you were 18, 17, 19, 20, 21, you were irresponsible. Mm-hmm. You were not a bad kid. You were never a bad kid. Mm-hmm. But you made poor choices. Sometimes. Mm-hmm. Sometimes. When I look at you now, I think to myself, if my car breaks down, I'm not calling anybody else. I'm calling Jared first. That says something. That I hold you that high. I have a lot of respect for you.
Appreciate
that. In fact, I have more respect for you than I do, I would say, probably 99% of the people I meet. I'm blessed to have you in my life, and I'm really proud of where you've gone and where you've grown. And that's not to stroke your ego on the podcast. Mm-hmm. I could care less about that. That's on a personal level, right?
You just reminded me of my simple principle that I was going to share, and I am going to say it throughout the podcast anytime we need to circle back to it. Legendary fire chief, Phoenix Fire Department. His name's Al Brunacini. I got to meet him once. He passed away not too long ago. Wrote some really good books on how to do good in the fire service, but he had a huge philosophy based on 2 words. Be nice.
Yeah.
If you're in a scenario and you're not sure what to do, what solution is going to be the nice solution? Do you tell somebody to fuck off, or do you try and help them? So, for example, you need help with your car. Yeah, dude, you're my friend. I want to help you. I'll come over. I'll do everything in my power to help. And if I don't have the ability to help you, we will find someone who can do that, or we will figure out a solution for it. It's not oh yeah, you're fucked. See you later. It's you help people. That's the point. That's my point of living is help people.
I feel like
be nice.
You talk about be nice, right? And I feel like look at the start of Row, right? Which is, again, how we're referring to it so YouTube doesn't stab us in the face. But, look at the start of it. Oh, people literally walked into my store. It's the first time in my life I've ever been thanked for going to work on a Monday. Like, I'm thinking big deal. Like,
right.
This is my job. I do it every day. Right? Like, I've never had people, or when our uncle passed, I've never had people bring me a fully cooked meal before. I mean, think about, like, how much that changed my day. Right? Just a little act of kindness. Mm-hmm. And I feel like if more people did stuff like that, you don't have to kiss each other's ass every day. I mean, it's just not human nature. But if more people did those random acts of kindness like that on a more regular basis, think of how different the world would be.
I was driving down the road after work, running to the bank, taking care of some stuff. Kid in the car next to me smiled and waved. What did I do?
Flipped him off. Drank your beer. threw it out the window and hit his mom in the head.
No, little kid smiled and waved back,
Yeah.
and the kid was happy. That's the point. It's little shit like that, holding the door open for a person. I don't care if they're old, a woman, a man.
Yeah,
hold the door. It's
young,
little
old.
shit.
It doesn't matter.
That person could be having the worst day of their life, and you hold the door open for them, and you say, "Have a nice day." You never know that could be a turning point for them.
And sometimes
something as small as that.
Sometimes it's the dumbest thing as like a smile and a thank you so much. It was nice seeing you again. Like, dude, it changes my
Sometimes
day.
it's crying outside your ex-girlfriend's apartment, calling your bro, and
he's got to come get you.
Almost going to get arrested.
See, he's got to come and get you so you don't go to jail. But we wouldn't know anything about that. We don't know anything about that. So, Jared, I think the fire service absolutely changed your life. So now you tell me you're working for a different company. Mm-hmm. What do you do?
Well,
and you can name the company if you want this.
It's still but it's still involved in the fire service. I work for a company that makes firefighting suppressants and retardants.
Awesome.
Specifically in firefighting foam, which is a really fancy way of saying I help to make bubbles.
Fancy, expensive bubbles.
Yeah, that's fair. And what we focus on are hydrocarbons and polar solvents, which is a fun way of saying when gasoline's on fire or isopropyl alcohol's on fire. We send a lot of our products to like refineries and stuff. You have oil refineries down in Texas. They might have a sprinkler system. It has some of our foam in it that mixes with the water if there's ever a fire. Anytime you see a big industrial fire and they're spraying and you can see like the white bubbles and stuff that are just covering everything, that's specifically the stuff we make. But also when you're looking at all the wildland fires, Colorado, California, Canada, Australia, we're an international company. So you see the aircraft that dump the red powder on forest fires, that is primarily our product. We're the big dog when it comes to that powder product.
And I'm so proud of you.
It's an awesome. It's already the fire service is awesome, and I love being a firefighter. But I would say I've been in this job for 9 months, so not even a year, and it's probably one of the best jobs I've ever had. I've never been treated so well by my coworkers, my immediate managers, and upper management. It seems that the company as a whole treats their people pretty well, and the expectations are very clear. And I like to ask my boss that all the time. What are your expectations today?
What do you want from me?
What do you want from me?
You're paying me. What would you like me to do?
What do we need to get done? I don't like to sit idle. So
you're a get it done kind of guy, and you have been even when you were 16, 17 years old working at the bowling alley.
Yeah,
you've always been like that.
As forever ago.
But you've always been like that. So I was super impressed, and I could tell the way you were talking about when we first talked, when you first told me about it.
I was hooked after 2 weeks. I was this place is awesome.
I could tell that you were in a lot better place, because when we would talk, it's, I'm working 12 overnight again, or I'm working 24 overnight again, or I'm volunteering down to say I'm doing this again. I could hear it in your voice that it's not that you're unhappy, but you weren't maybe fulfilled.
I liked the people. So I would argue that we were paid less than the norm for the position. However, like when I worked night shift, I worked alone. We could watch movies, play video games. I could bring a system in game. We did like the security component, so someone was always awake. But there was a lot of downtime where I could chillax, where I was arguably getting paid. So that was the payoff. A lot of downtime to do whatever we want, lower pay. There's no challenge there, though. It was routine. So like you said, yeah, hey, I got to go, I work tomorrow. I don't really want to go. I love the people I work with, but I didn't care for the actual work we were doing. So like I didn't feel fulfilled, and it wasn't challenging.
When I talk to you now, I hear different. And that makes me very happy.
Totally different.
Because when I first came out of college, I was in a very similar position with the job I'm in now. I never liked our store growing up. And that's the truth. I tell people that all the time. And some people can't believe it when I say it. Like, oh my God, like you're the face that runs the place. Like, I'm literally the AJ Styles and the John Cena of my grocery store.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that people walk in now and they recognize me before they recognize Jared.
Right.
And I can't believe that, because that was never the case. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm literally the face of the company. And when I first got out of college, I was in a poor relationship that should have ended many years previous. We all know this.
We all make mistakes, and we all learn from our mistakes.
Yep. I was in a poor relationship that should have ended many years previous. And I remember my brother one day sitting down with me and saying, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Well, so-and-so and I are fighting again. We're arguing, blah, blah, blah." He's like, "Justin, you got to get this figured out." He's like, "Because it's starting to affect your work here at the store." And he didn't say, break up with her, get your shit together, and fly straight. That's not, Jared's not like that.
He told you figure it out.
Yeah, Jared is not like that. And he's never been like that with me. He's always, if he sees something he doesn't like, he'll tell me.
And it's funny because he's the same way with me. Like, I tell him something, you know, now I've been with my wife for like, what, 6 years? Too long. It's great. I love it. But, you know, ex-girlfriends, I'd be telling him something, you know, oh, this happened, we got into a big fight, and he'd just be like, you know, that...
It's not good.
Sums up with that. That's not good. You should get that figured out.
Yeah. And so he said that to me. He said, you really need to figure things out, Justin. Mm-hmm. And I remember, so I called her up and we discussed things and we brought the relationship to an end, you know, and then I kind of worked for a year and I was feeling a lot better. And one night I said, you know, I kind of want to build a Facebook page for our grocery store. I just thought, you know, try something.
Nice.
And he didn't shoot it down, but he kind of thought, why? You know, we don't need it. And he's right, we don't need it. But I said, I think we need that social media presence. And at the time, remember this is 2013, Facebook still wasn't a big deal.
No.
It wasn't. It was like Candy Crush and Pets R Us for adults. And you could like stalk your like girls that you thought were hot on there. That's what it was originally made for, whether anybody wants to admit it or not.
That's true.
Zuckerberg's already said that. But anyway, so I said I want to make a Facebook page. And then we got talking. I did the Facebook page. I'm like, you know, we got 80 followers, bro. Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, talk to me when you get 100.
I was one of them.
But he says, well, talk to me when you get 100. I said, well, what do you think about doing a video? And recording a video. Just stupid little thing where I say, well, you know, this week we have bananas, 39 cents a pound. And this week we have beef tips for $5.99 a pound. You know, and just something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I guess so. And we did it. And the first week I ever did the first video, it was with a gentleman in my store. I won't give last names, but his name was Jason. And he gave me a chance. You know, sometimes you need that chance, right?
Right.
And Merv and my brother, as much as my brother maybe challenged the idea, he is one of the first people to really give me a chance.
Right.
And Merv never said, you can't do it. You're not as good as Jared. Merv never said that to me. And he never said, why aren't you smarter like Jared? Why don't you do more school like Jared? Merv never
That's not in his nature,
Merv,
though.
Merv never, but here's the thing. Other people in my family talk to me like that.
Right.
Merv never talked to me like that. Yeah. 34 years, he never treated me like that. Merv always put me on a level playing field with Jared. Mm-hmm. And he said, well, what is this Facebook thing? And I said, well, you know, Merv, it's a way for me to reach our customers. And, you know, maybe I didn't even have the foresight at the time. I said, I want to do a video.
Free advertising.
And he said, well, you know, I remember back when we would pay $1,000 for an ad in the Green Bay Press-Gazette. You know how Merv was.
Yeah.
And he was right.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
Money we didn't have.
Right.
And I said, Jared, it's fucking free advertising,
free
bro.
Free advertising.
I'm like, what are we doing?
And
we're missing an opportunity, right?
And then you have fans, so I'm going to cut in super quick here. You guys have clothes, T-shirts and stuff. And that's one of the coolest things you guys did. But one of the coolest things, two cool things I've done. One, I wear it around, and I've had people say, where the hell did you get that, and where can I get one?
Yeah.
And two, that's one. I think that was one of your most shared posts from what I remember. Is I shared it a ton of times. Yeah. But people were like, yeah, I want Red Owl merch. Gosh, I was at the store the other day for a couple hours. I swear to God, every fourth customer that came in
had a hoodie on.
Red Owl hoodie or a shirt.
I remember when my dad used to drive truck for Red Owl back in the 70s. Son of a bitch, where did you get that hoodie?
Absolutely.
You know? And I said, I want to do a video. So I said to my customer, Jason, I said, hey, Jason, I said, would you go on camera with me and just talk about our fish fry? This is the first video we ever did. Nice. He said, sure. I said, is that cool with you? He said, I won't use your last name. I said, I'll just introduce you and let you talk about your experience here. Yeah, sure. So I introduced him. We shook hands on camera.
Nice.
And all of a sudden, it's 100 views, 200 views, 300 views, likes, shares. Mm-hmm. That sounds like a good Friday night to me. Mm-hmm. A lady walks in the next Friday and says to my brother, you know why I'm having your fish fry tonight? He says, why? I saw your video on Facebook. and the light went like this. Boom! and my glasses flew off, and they broke, and I was like, that's $1 billion idea.
That bastard in front of mine's a smart SOB. Hot damn.
And all of a sudden, right? We talk about like belonging and feeling like what we're doing matters.
Right.
We're not just monotonous day to day. There is a point to this story. All of a sudden, I had a place in that store. Mm-hmm. I had a purpose there. That's what I was missing, right? Now, 7 years later, 8 years later, 9 years later, people walk in, they're going, I love your videos. I don't miss a single one. And I'm like, holy shit, I did it. I'm fucking John Cena. It's the truth.
It is.
It's like,
people know you.
How did I go from being Justin's never going to amount to anything, he's going to be the black sheep, a stain on the family's name, to, hey, I see you on Facebook all the time, man. I love your videos, bro. Keep it up, dude. I came in to get a whole tenderloin because my wife saw the video and she bitched me out and set my ass down here. How did I go from 0 to John Cena, right?
Right.
How did I do it? It blows my mind, dude. I never thought I would ever get there. So just like, like we talk about you making that change, and you feel like what you're doing matters. Mm-hmm. It's so important. It's so important. I want to take a moment here to take a short break, and you and I were going to come back with the third and final stretch of the podcast, Jared. Thanks for joining me tonight.
One quick thing before we finish, before we get into that last stretch.
Oh, God, here we go.
Let's do the Fast and the Furious. Last 3 anime you watched, how you felt about them. Last 3 games you played, how you felt about them.
So important to me, bro. I was actually going to ask you this question. Okay, first of all,
Boom.
Favorite anime of all time, go. 1, 2, 3.
Hellsing.
Black Lagoon. Son of a bitch. All right, here we go.
Black Lagoon, pretty good.
Favorite video game of all time. 1, 2, 3. Final Fantasy VIII.
Saga?
Fuck you.
I lied. I already said Metal Gear Solid 3.
Let's see.
What's something you watched recently, and what's something you played recently? I want to know.
So what am I playing right now? I am playing Anvil. It is a game preview on Game Pass. I am playing Halo Infinite. Love it. Love what they did with it. I'm also playing Ready or Not. Playing Fortnite with friends. Playing Stardew Valley. Playing, my God, Green Hell from time to time. And some different VR games, including the VR version of Resident Evil 4. Which I'd say is about a $20 to $25 game. I know I'll trigger somebody in there. Jared, what are you playing?
Right now, Shining Resonance Refrain, a JRPG. Yep. Really hard. Actually got stuck for a game that you're supposed to be able to beat in 28 hours. I'm on hour 44 because instead of giving up, I chose to grind my characters.
That a boy! Boom!
And now I'm at the end. So, going good. Also, play a little Stardew Valley, enjoying it.
Love that
very
game.
lightly playing.
I think Concerned Ape is an absolute genius when it comes to game design.
And then a friend just loaned me Ghost of Tsushima, so I think that's going to be next.
I watched you so hard.
I watched you play it, so I already kind of know what to expect.
Anime. You know, it's not a fair question to me. I have not watched anime in a year.
That's all right.
I have had no time.
It's funny because as I've grown older, it's lower on my focus as well. However, when I'm on a treadmill or when I have some downtime, I try and watch stuff. So personally, I'm watching a new Demon Slayer arc. That's Hulu's
Kimetsu no Yaiba.
Yep, the Entertainment District. It's good. I don't mind it. I can't really give spoilers or anything. My brother and I, though, when him and I get together, we watch. So we just finished Gundam: The Origin, which I'm a huge Gundam fan, so I freaking loved it. Updated artwork, really, really good mesh of the art, and then we've been working on all of the Fate series.
Very cool.
Although we finished Fate Grand Order and got through it, so actually we are halfway through the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, which I am very much enjoying. We're halfway through the Hateful Eight episodes.
Oh God, yeah, that
time loop.
That entire arc was a total pain in the ass. Actually, I remember reading because I'm a huge Haruhi Suzumiya fan. And I liked the Nagato Yuki-chan one they did too.
We're gonna watch that too.
Oh, it's so good. I have it if you guys need it. It's fantastic. That was like one the eight arc, the Endless 8 arc was one that they said fans of the series just hated.
I love it, and I'm halfway.
No, I understand. I understand,
but you understand why I love it.
Yeah, they watched it and they're like, guys, you literally did the same episode 8 times in a row.
But they didn't.
But they did. but it's a little bit.
But they didn't.
So I will say, because we want to talk anime real quick. Okay, fine. I really like Sankareya. I love Black Lagoon, if you couldn't tell. Big fan Baka and Test.
Yeah.
I like Heaven's Lost Property. Squid Girl, Love Hina's a classic. Please Teacher. Please Teacher is one of the ones I started with. Infinite Stratus. It's a series your brother actually got me into.
I watched it with you.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. No Game, No Life. Big fan. Big fan here.
Oh.
And love Chinibio and Other Delusions.
Yeah. Oh, actually, you got me to watch that one. That actually ended up being probably one of my favorites.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Absolutely not.
Good
I wish
anime.
I could.
Good anime. Hey, we'll be right
Although
back.
Aqua's useless. That's Konosuba.
That's Konosuba.
Oh my god.
But that's a great show too.
What a loser.
Look
Wrong
at
anime.
this weeb. Look at this virgin.
Look,
Look at
when
anime.
Goku caught Pikachu in Digimon, it was the greatest anime moment of all time. I'm just telling you.
Hey, we'll be right back after this.